Skylar here. We're going to be doing a little 30-minute flow. This is something that I do in the morning. You can do it really any time of day, but it's going to be pretty quick paced. It's going to be a Vinyasa style flow. We're going to get the body warmed up and ready to go outside and get some walking or running in is what I use this kind of a sequence for. Also, there's going to be some arm balancing and a little bit of inversion. So this isn't for beginners necessarily, and the cues aren't going to be really detailed. So this is more for people who know the names of the poses and who are a little bit more familiar with the asana practice. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start in our seated position. And we'll start with a little bit of pranayama to get the energy flowing and get all the new oxygen in the body. So go ahead and close the eyes, let the palms rest on the knees. Take a breath in through the nose. And we're going to use the abdominals to just push short little bursts of air out through the nose. So Kalabati breath. So inhale and out. Okay, bring your breath back to a normal pace. Really just start to take your attention inward. Bring your attention to your breathing, starting to take nice long inhales and even longer exhales. Check in with your body. Notice if there's any places that are holding tension. Notice if there's any pain anywhere in the body, and just breathe into those areas. And exhale, let it go. Check in with your mind. Notice if there's any dominant thoughts that you're holding on to that aren't serving your best interest. And just allow yourself the opportunity to let those things go. Bringing yourself into the present moment, right here, right now. One way we can bring ourselves back into the moment, no matter what we're doing, is to focus on our breath. The breath is always present. And gently open your eyes. And we'll go straight into our Surya Namaskar A's. So come onto all fours. And just come through downward facing dog. Walk your feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And keeping the knees bent, come up, rolling each vertebrae. Nice and slowly. Inhale. And reach your hands all the way up to the ceiling, taking a little back bend if it feels good. And exhale, hands to heart center. And before we really get going in this practice, let's set an intention together. And our intention for the poses is to get the energy flowing through all parts of the body, that prana, that life force, so that we can go about our day efficiently and effectively. Inhale, raise the hands up to the ceiling, look up. And exhale, bring the hands through center, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, for this first one, let's just step it back into plank. Hold for a moment. Push into your hands. Suck the navel in towards the spine. And exhale, come halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Look between the hands, walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, come on up to standing, flat back. Hands up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, back to plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Pull the chest forward, look up. Exhale, downward facing dog. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Look forward, step or hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, sit the hips back, and come up into chair pose. Look up at the hands, sit the hips back, bring the weight into the heels. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop back to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward. Inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, through the vinyasa. We meet in downward facing dog, and on your next inhale, step the left foot forward, warrior 1. Exhale, come on down through the vinyasa. And we meet in downward facing dog. For a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Look between the hands, step or hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sit the hips back again for a chair pose. Come on up, raise the hands up. Again, bringing the weight to the heels. Squeezing the legs together, pulling the hands up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Fix myself here. Forward fold, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward, back foot flat, warrior 1. exhale. I think I said the left foot forward. That was the right foot. Sorry. Down, halfway down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And step the other foot forward, since I think I messed up the last time. Inhale, come on up, warrior one. Exhale, come on down through the vinyasa. And downward facing dog. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lift the right heel up towards the ceiling, keeping the weight square on the hands, even through both hands. Inhale, exhale, pull the knee in towards the nose, and then step the foot down. Keeping on the balls of the left foot, come on up, crescent lunge. Gazing towards the ceiling. Bring the right hip back, left hip forward, squaring off to the front of the mat. Bring your hands to airplane wings and the chest down to that front knee. And launch yourself into warrior three. Bringing the left foot off the ground, parallel to the floor. Making one long line from the top of the head to that back heel. Bring the hands down, frame the front foot, standing splits, raise the left heel up as high as you can. For me, it's first thing in the morning, so I'm going pretty easy. I'm pretty tight right now. And drop the back foot down on the back of the mat. Come on up into your crescent lunge. And through the vinyasa. Plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring the left heel up towards the ceiling. Weight distributed evenly on both hands. Exhale, bring the knee into the nose. And step the left foot down. Try to bring your feet about hips distance apart so you're not on a tightrope. And come on up, staying on the ball of that back foot for crescent lunge. Sending the left hip back, the right hip forward. Squaring the hips off to the front of the mat. Pushing through that back heel. And making sure the front knee is over the ankle. And bring the chest down to the front knee, arms to airplane wings. And launch yourself into warrior three. Right leg parallel to the ground, one long line from the top of the head to that back heel. Bring the hands down to frame the standing foot and raise the right heel up. Standing splits. See if you can raise the heel a little bit higher. And drop the top foot down on the back of the mat. Coming back into crescent lunge. And through the vinyasa. high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Really push through the knuckles of the thumb and the index finger. Make sure the fingers are spread. Bend your knees and push your chest towards your knees. Feeling length through the spine. And then you can start to send your heels down to the mat, towards the mat. They don't have to actually touch the mat. And look between the hands. Step the right foot forward, spin the back foot flat. Come on up to warrior two. Flip the front hand up, reverse your warrior. Exhale, coming into extended side angle. Bring the right fingertips down on the inside of the front foot. Raise the top hand up over the hand, over the head. Look up. And come on back up, warrior two. Straighten that front knee. Reach the front hand as far forward as you can, kicking that left hip back. And once you've gone as far as you can, then bring the front arm down. Front hand down to meet the shin or the foot or whatever. Left hand towards the ceiling. And come on up. And bring the hands to frame that front foot, and we'll go through our vinyasa. Look between the hands, step the left foot forward, bring the back foot flat, heel to arch alignment, bring the arms up, warrior two. And gazing over the front fingertips, pull the ribs back slightly. Put the front hand up, bring the back hand down the back leg, reverse the warrior. And exhale, coming into extended side angle, bring the front hand to the inside of the front foot. Right hand reaches above the head, towards the front of the mat. Rooting through the outside edge of that back foot, making one long line of energy. Roll the top chest towards the ceiling, look at the ceiling. And come on up, straightening the front leg. Kick the right hip up, reaching forward with the left hand as far as you can, and then drop the hand down to the shin. Look up to the right hand, raising towards the ceiling. Trikonasana. Triangle pose. And come on back up. And frame the front foot through another vinyasa. Walk the feet up to the hands. Bring them about mat's distance apart. And set the hips back in between the heels, coming into malasana, or a squat. So the toes are pointed outward slightly. And you don't want to crunch the spine here. Reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Come to your breath. Okay, and then going into an arm balance, crow pose, you're going to bring your hands down to the mat in front of you. Bring the feet together, big toes touching, and just kind of squat down like a little frog to get set up for this pose. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to shift your weight forward. Bring the knees up as high as you can towards the armpits, letting them rest on a little shelf that you're making with your triceps. Turn your gaze about a foot or two in front of the hands and just tip your weight forward. Maybe letting one foot and then another come up off the mat. Or maybe soaring into crow pose. Yeah, we're going to shoot back to chaturanga if you can. Yeah, and just let the body rest on the ground. Make a little shelf for your forehead here with your hands. Just take a moment to come to your breath. Okay. Bring yourself onto all fours. Going to get ourselves set up for a headstand here. And if you don't have inversions in your practice, you can try this up against a wall. And if you have neck issues, then you may want to avoid this one and maybe just stay in dolphin pose with the forearms parallel, kind of like downward facing dog, but on your forearms instead of your hands. But if you're with me, if you're ready to do the inversion, you're going to make a little triangle with your arms. Interlace the hands or interlace the fingers together. And you're going to cup the head with your hands. So giving yourself a little support. You're going to find some balance there on the crown of your head. Push into the balls of the feet. And just slowly walk the feet forward as far as you can until you just barely have the tippy toes making contact with the mat. From there, try to use your core strength to lift both feet up. Raising up into headstand. Bring the knees into the chest and come on down. Coming into child's pose, arms laying along the body, palms facing up, forehead on the mat. Come on up, swing your legs in front of you. And we'll come into our back bending. Roll on down onto the mat, keeping the feet on the mat. The soles of the feet on the mat. And first we'll go into bridge pose. So bring the heels where your fingers can touch them. And just push into the feet, push the hips up. You can interlace the fingers behind the back and roll the shoulders underneath if you wish. drop the hips down. We'll do that one more time if you're going to stick with bridge pose. Otherwise, you can come with me into Urdhva Dhanurasana. And if you're going to go with me, bring your fingers up by your shoulders. Raise the hips up. And if you're going into bridge pose, go ahead and go into bridge pose now. Lift the hips up. But if you're going into wheel pose, push into the hands, bring the top of the head to the mat, get yourself adjusted, and push up, raising the head up off the mat, checking in with yourself. How does it feel? If there's any pain, come out and go back into bridge. And go ahead and come down. Squeeze the knees into the chest. Roll from side to side if it feels good. Rock back and forth. Come onto your bottom, come into sitting. And we'll just do one quick boat pose, Navasana. Bring the shins parallel to the ground. You can hold on to the backs of the thighs. You can reach towards the feet. So we're keeping the feet engaged. If you wish, you can straighten the knees. I'm going to come here. Bring the chest up towards the knees. Don't let the torso sag. So engage the abdominals. Keep the spine straight. And come on down, nice and slow. Lower the feet last. Okay. It's hard to do these poses and talk at the same time. Okay, bring the knees into the chest again. Just give them a little hug. Bring the arms out to a T. Look over at your left hand and let the knees drop over to the right. You can use your right hand on your top knee to deepen the twist. Try to keep both shoulders on the mat. And bring the knees up through the center. Adjust your hips. Look over to the right hand. Let the knees drop to the left. Again, keeping both shoulders on the mat. If you want to go deeper, bring the left hand to the top of that right knee, the right thigh, and just pull for a little bit more of a twist. If it feels right. Always remembering to practice the himsa in our asana practice, not harming ourselves, not pushing ourselves harder than we can safely go. And bring the knees back up to the center. Bring the arms to the insides of the legs. Grab the outsides of the feet. Happy baby. And rock from side to side. And go ahead and let go of the feet. Bring them about max distance apart and just let them flop open. Bring the hands to the sides, palms facing up. Bring the shoulder blades together and then let the shoulders rest on the mat. Make any adjustments that you need to make in order to feel balanced on the ground below you. Close the eyes. Let the breath come to a natural pace. Let everything integrate here in Shavasana, final resting pose. And we'll be here for 5 minutes. And while you're here, play some singing bowls to help with the relaxation process. When the mind wanders, just allow your attention to come back to the sounds. Keeping the eyes closed, start to bring movement back into the body, just wiggling the fingers and the toes. Take one nice long full body stretch. Reach the hands up above the head and stretch all the way from the tips of the fingers to the tips of the toes. And waking up the body, waking up the mind. And roll over onto your right side, letting your head rest on the bottom arm. Curling up into a fetal position. Just taking one last moment to integrate all of the work that you did. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. And as you're ready, nice and slowly, Using your left hand planted into the ground to raise you up, leading with the left shoulder, symbolically reminding us to always lead with the heart. Keeping the eyes closed, come back into a comfortable seated position. And bring the hands in front of the heart, bowing the head slightly. Just spending a moment here in gratitude. Gratitude for another day. Gratitude for this practice. And gratitude to ourselves for being willing to show up, for being willing to get on our mat, maybe even if we didn't want to, but doing it anyways because we know the benefits. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.